From AI completely shaking up universities to new policies supporting millions of workers, so much is happening in India right now. It's a country in the middle of a huge transformation. In this explainer, we're going to connect the dots. We'll look at a few key moments from early 2026 to figure out what it all tells us about where the nation is headed.
So we're going to break it down into three main areas. We've got these huge leaps in technology, some really foundational shifts in the economy, and of course some big moves on the global stage. Putting it all together, it should give us a pretty clear answer to that big question. Just how is India changing right now?
You know, this slide right here, it really sums up the whole story we're diving into. On one side, you've got the future. We're talking an AI-powered university. And on the other, the absolute backbone of a region's economy, the traditional, essential work of tea garden laborers. It's that push and pull, that blend of the super modern and the deeply foundational, that really defines India's journey at this very moment.
All right, let's kick things off with our first big theme, technology. Now, AI is a big deal everywhere, right? But India is doing something pretty ambitious. They're not just adopting it, they're trying to weave it right into the fabric of society. And they're starting in a place that matters most, education.
Okay, so a huge development is happening in higher ed. India has just launched its very first pilot program for an AI-powered university. And let's be super clear here. This is not just about adding a few AI courses to the curriculum. No, this is about rebuilding the entire educational experience from the ground up with AI at its core.
So what does that actually mean? Well, over at Chaudhry Charan Singh University, or CCSU for short, they've kicked off this pilot program with some big partners, Google Cloud and the government. And they are literally embedding AI into everything. We're talking personalized learning paths for students, but also using it to make all the boring administrative stuff way more efficient. The big idea here is to create a model, a blueprint, that could change higher education for the entire country.
But this AI revolution, it's not just happening in the classroom. That same push for innovation and efficiency is now being pointed right at the heart of India's heavy industry. So that begs the question, how is AI changing a massive sector like energy? Well, take a look at this. India's state-owned energy giant ONGC. These guys are central to the country's oil and gas. They've just launched their very own centralized AI platform. Now, for an industry that's been around forever, this is a huge deal. It's a clear signal that they're moving towards a future driven completely by data. And this new platform, it's called Pragya AIX. Think of it less as a single tool and more like a whole ecosystem that brings all of their AI applications together under one roof. The mission? To completely transform how they operate. They're using data to get more efficient, make things safer, and, of course, boost production. It all comes down to making smarter, faster decisions. Okay, let's shift gears now. We're moving from the high-tech world of AI to what's happening at the grassroots level. Let's talk about the core economy and some of the key welfare programs that are really strengthening the country's foundation.
5,000 rupees. Just look at that number. What's the story behind it?
Well, that's the amount of a one-time payment that just went out to over 600,000 tea garden workers in Assam. It's part of a welfare scheme designed to provide a real safety net for a community that is, quite literally, the backbone of that region's economy and its entire identity.
Okay, now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the health of the whole financial system. This chart shows something really positive. See that line going down? That's non-performing assets, or NPAs. Basically, they're the bad loans that banks are stuck with. And right now, they're at a historic low. What that tells us is that India's banking system is probably stronger than it's been in decades, and a strong banking system means a more stable economy for everyone.
And here's another number that backs that up, 17.2%. Now that's the capital to risk-weighted assets ratio. I know it sounds complicated, but here's the simple version. A high number like this just means banks have a big financial cushion. They're strong, they're stable, and they can handle shocks, and that's a really great sign for the economy.
All right, for our next section, we're turning our attention to India's growing role on the world stage. We'll look at everything from national awards to some key diplomatic meetings, and of course, the strength of its defense forces.
First up, some national recognition. The state of Uttarakhand just won a pretty cool award, Best State for Promotion of Aviation at the Wings India 2026 event. This isn't just a trophy, it's a big nod to the work they've done building up infrastructure and policies that have seriously improved air travel, especially to those hard-to-reach mountainous parts of the state.
Now, over in the world of diplomacy, New Delhi just hosted the India-Arab Foreign Ministers meeting. What's the big deal? Well, this is only the second time this meeting has ever happened, and it's the first one in a full decade. Getting all those top diplomats in one room really signals that both sides are serious about strengthening their political and strategic relationship.
And on February 1st, the country takes a moment to celebrate Indian Coast Guard Day. It's a day to really honor the incredible work this force does. I mean, they're out there protecting India's huge maritime borders, everything from surveillance to dangerous search and rescue missions. They've been a dedicated armed force since way back in 1978.
And finally, we're going to shift our focus from these big national developments to take a moment to remember someone who made a huge mark on Indian sports.
The hockey world is mourning the passing of Michael Nobbs. He was an Australian player who went on to become the head coach for India's men's hockey team. He passed away recently at the age of 72, and he really left behind an important legacy. When people look back on his time as coach, which started back in 2011, there's one achievement that really stands out. He was the one who guided the Indian team to qualify for the 2012 London Olympics. For a country with such a deep, passionate history in hockey, that was a huge moment of pride and a real credit to his leadership.
So, let's pull all these different threads together. What's the big picture here? Well, it looks like three clear themes are popping up. First, you've got this major technological leap. AI is becoming a real player in both education and industry. Second, you see this growing economic resilience, right? From welfare programs for workers to a banking system that's in fantastic shape. And third, India is more and more engaged on the world stage through important diplomacy and national achievements.
You know, each of these stories, whether it's an AI university or a major diplomatic meeting, they're more than just news headlines. They're like little data points that, when you put them together, paint a picture of a nation that's changing really, really fast. And that leaves us with one final thought. With all this innovation, this economic strengthening, and this global outreach all happening at once, what kind of future is India actually building for itself? What does the road ahead look like? Thanks for joining us.